Number 1. Goblin. For context, Goblin follows Kim Shin, played by the charming actor Gong Yoo. He was once a decorated military general, only to later be framed as a traitor and cursed to stay immortal forever. He can only be relieved from life if he finds the Goblin's bride, who can pull out the sword embedded in his chest. Enter Ji Eun-tak, a bubbly high school student played by actress Kim Go-eun. She has a tragic past, and was able to summon our Goblin by chance. The two later make for a pretty unique romance, and this is where the problem lies. For starters, certain people and movie critics had pointed out what they called an uncomfy age gap between the two characters, seeing that Kim Shin is a 939-year-old that looks well into his 30s, and Eun-tak is a mere high schooler. These people have actively voiced their opinions on the drama's website during times of air, calling the romance disgusting, problematic, and even comparing it with the controversial novel Lolita. They also have issues with how Eun-tak was portrayed as overly naive, and how the drama makes this character seem like a damsel in distress, with nothing to do but wait for a man to rescue her. Certain scenes from the drama, where Eun-tak throws herself at an older male and says things like, "Let's have babies and live happily," and "What type of women do you like? Should I change every day?" made some viewers extremely iffy. Still, there are fans that argue against these accusations, stating that it's an understandable portrayal, that Eun-tak has waited for the Goblin for a long 19 years, and that she is desperate because there's no one else in the world that treats her well. Even now, this matter hasn't died down, and you can see topics and comments that call it out on both the Korean and international sides. Other issues, such as the overuse of advertisements, also follow the criticisms. Both during and after the series aired. Despite it all though, Goblin has been a massive hit. The series' viewership ratings had surpassed the 15% mark. With OSTs and scenes still being relevant 7 years later, the series was even regarded as a cultural phenomenon. Number 2. Crash Landing on You. Ah yes, Crash Landing on You. We all knew from the start that it was going to kick up some controversy. You know the plot. The rich female lead Yoon Seri went paragliding, faced a typhoon, and then found herself in the land of North Korea, face to face with handsome military lieutenant Ri Jung-hyuk. She later struggled to find her way out of this most rigorous country in the world, and made a found family along the way. Now, if you aren't aware, North Korea, aka the country Seri landed in, and South Korea, aka the land of our favorite series, had been on each other's nerves for years. The political feud between the two nations is pretty intense, and it is one of the reasons why Korean actors need to enlist and disappear for years. This is why the topic of Crash Landing on You was considered controversial, and one wrong move can turn the nation against them. Which did happen, as Seri's adventure in North Korea is not exactly welcomed with open arms. In particular, for the first half of the series, our female lead is clearly shown as unhappy and even depressed, to the point that she's actively seeking death. She can't eat food, has strained relationships with her family, and her life in Korea is bland with nothing to look forward to. On the other hand, life in North Korea completely changes her, as she smiles a lot, has fun doing the smallest things, and even enjoys meals as simple as sweet potatoes and hard-boiled eggs. People in Korea, from Seri's perspective, are mostly cunning and sly, while her North Korean friends are all simple and super friendly. All of these eventually led to accusations that Crash Landing on You is trying to romanticize and glamorize North Korea.
왜 설탕 뿌린 누룽지가 이렇게 맛있는 거니?
People pointed fingers at TVN for making a land of dictatorship beautiful. And the Christian Liberal Party of Korea even submitted a complaint towards this portrayal. In response to this, the drama's PD Lee Jung-hyo disagreed, stating that he tries to make the drama a disconnected space for romance, and purely fictional. It was also revealed that the production team had sought advice from North Korea's defectors to make things as realistic as possible, and people who escaped from this nation even admitted that they greatly enjoyed the drama. To them, the series showed different sides of people living in their home country. I also made kimchi out of seawater, and showered in a makeshift steam bath under plastic sheets.
집게로 목욕 주머니를 고정시키고 더운물이 담긴 함지를 목욕 주머니.
One of them said, noting scenes from the series. In the end, the matter completely vanished, and Crash Landing on You ended up being among the most successful work on cable networks, with ratings surpassing 21%. How the Tables Turned. Number 3. 2521. Now approaching a more recent case. 2521 had finished over half of its run, and so far it has been a pretty great ride. However, this youthful series is also going against quite a number of criticisms, both from the international and Korean sides. In fact, there had been not one, but 2 issues regarding the drama. And the first one is a case of plagiarism. In particular, Kwon Do-eun, the screenwriter for 2521, had been accused of copying the 2016 movie Miss Sloane in her previous work. Search www. People had pointed out that there are many frame-to-frame similarities, and the storyline and scripts also share a strong resemblance. As a result, 2521, while sporting no copying issues yet, had been a plagiarizer's work, and thus harshly criticized by regular Korean watchers, who asked people to not promote the series and not consume plagiarism, calling people shameless for closing their eyes and ears. And for the second issue, we are once again talking about the age gap between the 2 characters. Like its name, 2521 is about a romance between a man aged 25 and a girl aged 21, who met when they were 22 and 18, or 2016 in international age. Now, this was not a big issue initially, seeing that the drama has mostly told of the 2 characters' relationship in a platonic light. However, in episodes 9 and 10, there had been a romantic confession,
난 널 사랑하고 있어, 나 이거.
and the reception had been on fire. Comments can be found on Korean online forums calling to stop romance between adults and minors. People also expressed that they watched the series, thinking that the romance will only start when the 2 were adults, and thus finding the series disappointing for heading on such a controversial path. If this were real, you'd be called crazy. I'm worried that the children will imitate this, the netizens also said. Despite all of these, though, I have to say, 2521 is going pretty great. The series has got brilliant acting, tight writing, and great humor, and so are topping the charts with ratings rising from 6 to 10%. It seems that the controversies aren't enough to stop people from enjoying such a great drama. Number 4. Mr. Sunshine. As the blockbuster of 2018, Mr. Sunshine revolves around the male lead Choi Eugene, who was born into slavery before he escaped and became a Marine Corps officer. Later on, he returned to Korea on a mission, and soon fell in love with Go Ae-shin, a noblewoman with great ideals and skills. As the series took place during a time when Korea was so weak it was absorbed by Japan, the setting of Mr. Sunshine alone is prone to controversy. And sure enough, the drama found itself in hot water, facing intense criticism for history distortion. For starters, many details written in the drama were blatantly wrong, and many audiences expressed dissatisfaction over the series' portrayal of Korea at the time. According to them, Joseon was painted as too uncivilized, and thus provided justification for those who turned against their own nation. All of these details were a major source of anger to many Korean citizens, who ended up writing a government petition against the inaccuracies. In addition, people also pointed fingers at how Mr. Sunshine depicted the Black Dragon Society, which was a real pro-Japanese organization at the time. To them, having the second male lead Gu Dong-mei belong here is trying to lighten the organization's war crimes, something completely unacceptable. The backlash over this eventually grew so bad that the crew had to admit their mistake and change the organization's name into a fictional one. So how did Mr. Sunshine fare against all these backlashes? Surprisingly, the series did pretty amazingly. With gorgeous cinematography, interesting writing, and a cast full of acting powerhouses, the drama's ratings skyrocketed from 8 to over 18%, at the same time winning numerous awards and critical acclaim. It seems that a good series will be successful no matter what. And that's the list. What are your thoughts about these criticisms? Do you know of any other cases where the drama is harshly criticized yet still successful? Comment down below to let us know. And if you want more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe to Kdrama. We'll come back soon. See ya!